All right, so today we're going to do a deep dive into something pretty amazing. Google's new AI, Gemini. And we're going to break down exactly what it is and how it works and how you can use it, all based on excerpts from How to Use Gemini, Google's AI. And you know you love getting to the heart of things quickly, so we'll make sure this is insightful without getting bogged down in all that technical jargon.
I think you'll be fascinated by how Gemini is kind of going beyond, the typical text-based AIs we're all used to. We're talking about understanding and responding to images, writing different kinds of creative content, translating languages, even generating code.
Yeah, it really does seem like it can do it all.
Mhm.
The guide even mentions it being integrated with things you already use every day. Websites, mobile apps, even Google Assistant on Android. That's pretty wild.
It definitely points to Google's goal of like really weaving AI into the fabric of our daily lives, almost like it's just another tool in our kit.
Okay, so how do we actually start using this thing?
Well, the guide highlights a few main ways to access Gemini. The central hub is their website, gemini.google.com, which is great for those longer, more in-depth interactions, especially when you're working with text.
So if I want to ask it to, say, write a poem or summarize a long article, the website's the place to go.
Exactly. But for quick tasks or on-the-go use, you can also access it through various Google mobile apps. And if you're on an Android device, you can even use voice commands with Google Assistant to interact with Gemini.
Oh, so I could be using it without even realizing it's Gemini doing the work behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That's both cool and a little creepy, right?
Yeah, it is an interesting thought, how much AI will become integrated into our lives without us even thinking about it. But let's say you are consciously engaging with Gemini. Interacting with it is very similar to how you'd use a search engine or a digital assistant. You can type in your requests, speak them out loud, or even upload images.
Wait, hold on. Upload images so it can actually, like, see and understand what's in a picture.
That's the beauty of its multimodal capabilities. It can analyze an image you upload, describe what it sees, and even answer questions about it. It's like having a conversation about a picture, which is pretty revolutionary in the world of AI.
So if I upload a picture of, let's say, a busy street scene,
Okay.
I could ask Gemini to tell me what kind of businesses are there or what the weather looks like.
Precisely. But to get the most out of these interactions, whether with text or images, the guide really emphasizes the need for clear and specific instructions.
Yeah, they use a great example of this. Instead of just asking Gemini to write a poem, which is pretty vague,
Yeah.
you'd get much better results by saying something like, write a short poem about nature with an ADI rhyme scheme.
hmm
Being precise helps Gemini zero in on exactly what you're after.
And this is where the back and forth comes in. The guide really encourages you to think of it as a collaboration. If that first response isn't quite right, you can refine your question, add more detail, or even ask Gemini to edit or expand on what it's already come up with.
So it's not just a one and done kind of thing. You can really shape the output by having this ongoing dialogue with it.
Exactly. It's a much more dynamic process than traditional AI interactions. But even more fascinating is what Gemini can do with these instructions. We're talking about creative text generation, poems, code scripts, even music. And then there's language translation, complex question answering, summarization image analysis, and even programming. It's mind-boggling how much it can handle.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be incredibly useful for all sorts of things, both personal and professional.
Absolutely. And this is where that context understanding comes in. Unlike earlier AIs, Gemini remembers what you've previously discussed and uses that information to provide more relevant and thoughtful responses.
So it's like it's actually learning and adapting to the conversation as it goes, which would make it feel a lot more natural to use.
That's precisely the goal, to move beyond simple question and answer interactions and towards something that feels more like a true dialogue.
That's a pretty big leap forward in AI, wouldn't you say?
I'd say it has the potential to change the way we think about and use AI in some pretty significant ways.
So let's dig into some specific scenarios where this could be a game changer. Okay, so imagine you're like prepping for a big meeting. So
Yeah.
you're just drowning in research articles. Instead of spending hours reading through all of them, you could have Gemini summarize the key points of each one in minutes.
Oh, absolutely. And think about the implications for students or anyone who needs to absorb a lot of information really quickly. It could really level the playing field when it comes to accessing knowledge.
Yeah, for sure. The guide also mentions some really practical uses, like having Gemini write a formal email, requesting a deadline extension. I know I could have used that a few times.
Right. Or how about quickly summarizing a news article on a topic that you need to be up to date on?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And for those who are like into coding, it can even generate Python code to sort a list of numbers. Talk about a time saver.
Yeah, it really is like having a Swiss Army knife of intellectual tools at your disposal. What I find most intriguing is how Gemini seems to blur the lines between tasks that used to require very different skills. It's not just about writing or coding or translating in isolation. It's about using those skills in conjunction with one another to solve problems and achieve goals.
That's a really interesting point. It's not just like replicating human abilities. It's doing something new altogether.
Precisely. It's pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible with AI.
Yeah. The guide also stresses the importance of experimentation and exploration. It seems like even they are still discovering all the things Gemini can do, which is kind of exciting, right?
Absolutely. This technology is constantly evolving and improving. The more people use it, the more feedback they provide to Google, the faster it will learn and grow.
So it's not just a static piece of software. It's actually getting smarter over time based on how people are using it.
Exactly. And that's where patience comes in. This is still early days for Gemini, and there will be bumps along the way.
All right, it's important to remember that. We can't expect it to be perfect out of the gate.
Of course not. But by embracing that learning curve and sharing our experiences, we can help shape its development in a positive direction.
Speaking of feedback, the guide encourages users to report any errors or offer suggestions for improvement. So if you're using Gemini and you see something that doesn't seem quite right, or you have an idea for how it could be better, don't hesitate to let Google know.
Yeah, your input is valuable. It's a collaborative learning process, and the more people participate, the better Gemini will become.
Yeah, it's like we're all part of this grand experiment in AI development, which is kind of cool when you think about it.
Yeah, it is quite remarkable. But even with all of its impressive capabilities, there's a crucial point that the guide emphasizes: verification.
Oh, meaning we shouldn't blindly trust everything Gemini tells us?
That's right. While Gemini has access to an incredible amount of information, it's always wise to double-check any critical information, especially if it pertains to sensitive topics or requires absolute accuracy.
So it's a tool to be used responsibly and thoughtfully, not a replacement for human judgment or critical thinking.
Exactly. It's about augmenting our abilities, not relinquishing them.
Right. So to sum it all up, Gemini is this incredibly powerful and versatile AI tool designed to be accessible and easy to use, but it's not a magic bullet. It's up to us to use it wisely and ethically.
And that brings us to a question for you, our listener. Given Gemini's ability to blend text and image understanding so seamlessly, what possibilities do you see for this type of AI?
How do you envision it impacting your own work, hobbies, or even the way you approach learning and problem solving?
It's a fascinating question to ponder, especially considering that we're still just scratching the surface of what Gemini can do.
We're on the cusp of something truly extraordinary. Just imagine the creative potential alone. Think about, like, collaborating with Gemini to write a screenplay, or compose a symphony, maybe even design a building.
Oh yeah, the possibilities are vast. And what's even more exciting is that, this is just the beginning. As Gemini continues to learn and evolve, who knows what it'll be capable of a year or two from now.
Yeah, it's a little mind-blowing to think about. We're witnessing, like, the birth of a technology that could fundamentally change so many aspects of our lives.
Yeah.
And it's happening right now, in our lifetime.
It really does make you wonder what the world will look like in 5 years. Or 10 years.
Yeah, for sure. And with that comes a sense of responsibility, right? We need to be mindful of how we develop and use this technology, make sure it benefits humanity as a whole.
Absolutely. This isn't just about cool gadgets and fancy features. It's about shaping the future we want to live in. A future where AI can help us solve complex problems, unlock new levels of creativity, and maybe even deepen our understanding of ourselves and the universe around us.
Yeah, and that's what makes this deep dive into Gemini so fascinating. It's not just about learning about a new piece of technology. It's about, like, grappling with the larger implications of what it means to be human in an age of rapidly advancing artificial intelligence.
So as you go forth and explore the capabilities of Gemini, remember to do so with a sense of wonder, a healthy dose of skepticism, and a commitment to using this powerful tool for good.
Well, it's been an incredible journey exploring the world of Gemini with you.
It has been a pleasure sharing these insights.
And to you, dear listener, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you've come away with a better understanding of what Gemini is, how it works, and the incredible potential it holds. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.